Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pizza Time Chronicles. It is time to get lost in the pizza sauce. Everybody, you already know I bring on nothing but the best. Everybody, this is Keisha Yearby. How are you doing today?
I am doing awesome, and even more so looking at you in that pizza suit. I'm from Chicago, so us Chicagoans, we love some pizza.
Yes, you already know. Keisha, sorry. Let everybody know who you are.
I am Keisha Yearby, teacher Keisha. I have been teaching for 19 years. I am the founder and CEO of Free Your Greatness, where I help children and people who work with children build up a belief in themselves. I help children academically and mentally to believe that they are important enough, wise enough, and powerful enough to create their dreams.
That's just powerful. That's just within the first couple minutes of the show. That is powerful what you do. There's nothing I love more than an educator, because you are so important to this world, especially during the time we're going through right now. Um, educating children, making them feel welcome, making sure that they're cherished, they are comforted. You're doing an amazing job. And I really need you to be on this show because people need to understand the importance of education in our children. So my first question to you is, what does education mean to you?
What does education mean to me? Wow. Education means to me steering our youth to the right path. And that means not just thinking about academics and 2 plus 2 equals 4, but also teaching them financial wealth, teaching them that they have the power within them to create anything, to respond or to not respond, and that your world is what you make of it. So education just means taking this young mind, this young person. There's a quote that I love, and it says, children are great imitators. So give them something great to imitate. And it just means doing just that. Showing children, because they're sponge and they're watching each and everything that we do, and they're picking up the things that we say. So showing them the greatest life possible and building up in them that they can achieve it.
And how much of an honor is it to call yourself an educator?
It is so much of an honor because when children come into my classroom, they come in, however. But when they leave, or just month to month, being able to see the little seeds that I drop in them slowly sprouting up. And again, whether that's good or bad, that's sprouting up into the flower and the fruit that it bears. So to be able to look at something that I create within my students, like for instance, I started my students with meditation last month, maybe the last week before we left. And when we do it, I tell them they don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just be quiet. But while the rest of us are doing it, just don't disturb us. And so 2.5 minutes, I play some type of meditation music. And sometimes I'm doing it, but just to listen to them. And for me, when I asked them the first time that I did it with them, how do you feel? I feel like I've already created my dream. How do you feel? I feel love. I feel like all my family's all around me. So just to know that I created this on the inside of them, it's just an honor to know that I have the power to shape a life.
And I love that you have more of a student-centered approach. You focus more on the development. Obviously, you want to educate them. There's a curriculum. But as in education today, it's more curriculum based. They just want to get what they need to get across,
Yes.
versus then focusing on what the students potentially going through. My personal experience is working at the Olive Boys and Girls Club. I think that's a great start for a lot of children. A lot of children came out the club. I like to call it the club. And they came out and they went off to do big and great things because they felt supported. Because
Yes.
the Olive Boys and Girls Club is very child centered. They want to focus on the interest and as well as the needs of the child. And I love that teaching. I love that you do that now, because I never heard of meditation in my class. I'm already stressing out first period because I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. Especially at a younger age, I'm watching Power Rangers one moment, and the next thing you know, I'm in my square on the carpet, and I'm like, what happened? Um, you take such a calm approach, and I love that you brought up that, you establish that if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, just sit down and let other people enjoy it. It may not be for you, and that's okay. And I
Yes.
love that you instill that in children very early on, because when they grow up and they develop, they say, okay, I can let other people enjoy things. If maybe I don't like it, but I'm gonna let other people enjoy it. Um, so I commend you for that. That's amazing. I love that. So I understand you have your own LLC. Would you like to talk more about that?
Sure. So, talking about education, and like you're saying, education now is built upon the grades and the standards for each state has their own standards. And we as teachers are pretty much taught to teach to those standards. And we have a timeline on when we're supposed to teach this particular skill. For instance, right now in my second grade class, I'm teaching addition and subtraction with bargaining and regrouping. And so we have 3 weeks to teach that. Okay, great. Well, what about the students who catch it like this? And I'm still going over it. Or what about the students who, at the end of that 3 weeks, they're like just this close, but the 3 weeks are up. And yes, we're supposed to offer them differentiated instruction and we're supposed to continue to teach them. But as we're moving on to that other skill, they kind of get left behind. And that's where you get those gaps. And especially in reading. And when you have that gap, if that foundation is not solid, the gap continues to go like this and this and this and this and this. And so that's how I started my tutoring company, because I wanted to be able to work with students one on one. I do not do any group tutoring, because just because someone's working on beginning sounds, I might need the beginning sounds ABCD and you need HIJK. So we're really not working on the same things. But I really want to focus on filling in that gap or building that solid foundation and not moving on until you get that foundation. And when you have that true understanding and you can explain it to me, I'm a big question person. How do you know? Why did you get this answer? I don't care if it's right. How did you get it? And so that's how I came up with my company, because the things that we cannot necessarily do in the classroom, I want to be able to give it to children. The children that have that idea, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I'm dumb. No, you're not. The power of yet, you just haven't gotten it yet. And I want to build that part up. So basically, from the academic standpoint, like I said, given that foundation, filling in that gap, and then given what I didn't have. I didn't have anybody telling me how powerful I was. I didn't have anybody telling me to speak up. I didn't have anybody telling me to go and live my dreams. My parents wanted me to live their dreams. So all of the things that I didn't get when I was a child, I want to give to children. And that's what my company is for. And also for people who are working with children, mentoring other teachers, giving professional development to teachers. Like I have a classroom that I call a motivated and inspired classroom, because I start off by motivating them and telling them those things. And then if I'm having a bad day, or as Les Brown, my mentor, say, a character building day, they'll come back to me, Ms.Yearby, don't give up. Ms.Yearby, stay in peace. So that's how my whole business came forth.
It's amazing. I'm gonna bring up being mentored by Les Brown. This woman is amazing. And if you don't know who Les Brown is, just go on YouTube. You should have heard of Les Brown by now. Um, I want to be mentored by Les Brown. But there's something great about the youth, and it's something that personally, with me working with the youth, it's important about reassurance.
Yes.
When they put out their dreams out there and they put out their fantasies, it's always good to reassure them that it's possible.
Mhm.
Now, I know working with children, sometimes they say, I want to be a Pop Tart when I grow up. That's when you have to set the reality. Okay, I appreciate you. I love when little kids say that. They just say the most random things. But, it's always good to reassure them that you could be whatever you want. Maybe a Pop Tart is not possible, but you could be whatever you want. You want to set your mind to. And I think that's great that you set that standard in your classroom, that you're constantly reassuring them. You're motivating them. And they may not understand it then. And at a young age, that's where some educators struggle, because you don't know particularly if they're taking it in, or if they're reacting to it the right way that you want it to. but they eventually they do learn, they appreciate it because they're in a motivated environment. They're happier, they're more relaxed. They don't have all the stress on them. The one-on-one tutoring is perfect. Because they're not necessarily worried about the next person if they're advancing or they're behind. That's that one-on-one time. There's nothing more special with that. Um, so again, I commend you for that. And jumping into being mentored by Les Brown, what's that experience like?
Oh my gosh. So as I was getting into motivating myself, I was in a low part of my life, and I really don't know how I found out, but I found out about TED Talks. And from there, that led me to motivational speakers. And I'm listening to them each and every morning. I would get up at 4 in the morning just to listen to motivational speakers. And I happened upon Les Brown. And, I'm listening to lots of others, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Lisa Nichols. I'm listening to all of them, but his voice resonated with me the most. I could listen to his exact same speech over and over and over. And each time I'm still laughing. Each time I felt like I was getting something new. So I made up my mind in March or April of 2019. I said, I'm going to meet Les Brown and shake his hand. And I would tell anybody, I'm going to meet Les Brown and shake his hand. I played it for my second grade students, and I'm telling them, I'm going to meet Les Brown and shake his hand. So every time he would go live, I would type in the comments, I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. And he would say, if you want to work with me, send me an email here. So I'd go to the email, reasons why I wanted to work with him. And I would say, I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. This continued. And I would visualize myself. Of course, we were having in person. He was having people come in person to his home and interview with him. And I would visualize myself sitting in the chair, still doing this. This is over the summer. So we're probably in about, I would say September, October. And then I got to the point I was a little bit jealous. I was like, man, those people sitting next to him. I was like, I can't wait till I'm sitting next to you. He changed his email. I'm still sending the same thing. I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. We get all the way up to December. And he went live, had a wonderful, wonderful message. And he said, reach me at, and he changed his email again. And I was like, I've already done this. I've sent 16 emails to him. I haven't gotten a response. I was like, man, I'm not going to do it. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and it was still resonating like you need to send that email. I didn't do it that morning. But it was in my spirit all throughout the day. So later on that night, I sent my email with the same, I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. And his team got back to me. I was like, oh my gosh. And so they asked me to, basically questions to make sure that I was serious about working with him. Well, I thought that was it and it was going to happen. I ended up getting a phone call from his owner, Brown, and I recognized her voice on the phone. And then he was supposed to be having a class, but he didn't have a class. So I worked with Ona. Began working with her in January through March of 2020, working with Ona. Okay, that's done. Great. I went right back to my original thing. I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. April 26, 2020, Les Brown called me himself. And so I'm listening to him. There was a compilation with him and Miles Monroe that I was listening to. And on my phone, I look and it says Les Brown. And I'm like, oh my God, Les Brown's calling me. How do I answer the phone? Now I'm on the phone. I don't know how to answer the phone, right? So I answered the phone. He was like, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown, baby boy Les Brown. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw it. So that went from me meeting with him. So that was on a Friday. By that Monday, I'm meeting with him like this on Zoom, working with him every day. The same Les Brown you see on TV, that's the same Les Brown jokes and all that stuff. And I worked with him from April through June on learning how to tell my story. And then it actually turned to a friendship to the point where, we're talking almost every day. And then I'm still like, wait a minute, is this happening? Am I talking to Les Brown? And so, we're in the middle of a pandemic now. And I said to him one day, I said, I really haven't finished my dream. I said, my dream was to meet you and shake your hand. And he said, well, is the virtual the same? And I said, no, that would be just like your story with the radio when you were working in the station, but you weren't the DJ. And so I said, well, can I come down and see you? This was August. And he said, sure. So the second weekend in August, I flew to Atlanta in the middle of a pandemic. And, this is when it's really scary and everything. And I was able to spend the day with Les Brown. So I know you are powerful enough to create your dreams. Don't give up. Like I said, it took me 17 emails. How many people would have given up before that? And then after that 17th email, I worked with Ona Brown. I didn't work with less. So I still had to go back and do it. But when I sat down and said that and was telling everybody that, I didn't know it was going to happen in a year. I'm thinking, okay, eventually. It happened in a year. Wow. So it's amazing.
You already know what I'm saying in my mind. I'm like, You are powerful enough to create your own dreams.
Yes.
I want you all to go back and hear that again and replay it. You are powerful enough to create your own dreams. Yes. I'm currently in that journey right now.
Well, I'm going to say don't give up.
Right. Never give up.
Don't give up.
There's something powerful in your message, and that's consistency.
Yes.
We're entering a new year. I mean, we're kind of in the middle of the new year. No, not even. We're still in the first month. It felt like a year already. It's been long. This is a long January. But that consistency piece is so important, because I feel when we try things more than twice and it doesn't come out the way we want to, we kind of give up. Mm-hmm. But 17 times, that takes someone special. That takes someone disciplined, because they know what they want. And I think that's a piece of consistency that people miss, that we have to establish what we want. We have to manifest what we want and what's going to happen before we keep going, because it's not going to stop us until it happens. Mm-hmm. I know with me, I didn't stop until I lost 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And people didn't believe it. People thought this was a 10-year journey. I did that in a year.
See?
My book that's coming out, I manifested, well, that was more of a million, Daniela. But, if it wasn't for them to put that in my life, I've been wanting to create a book for all my life, but I didn't feel motivated. Mm-hmm. The thing with consistency, and as well as your dreams and being powerful to create your dreams, you're going to see signs. There's going to be multiple things happening at the same time that's telling you, you got to do this, you got to pursue this, because it's going to keep nagging you. And it's going to keep nagging you. And it's not even a mindset thing either. There's just physical signs happening all the time, especially when I was in my weight loss journey. I knew I was getting bigger and bigger, and my Domino's order was canceled, and I got so mad. And I think everybody will get mad if they didn't get the cheesy bread, but but I got so mad. But then that night I hit the scale and I was 366 pounds. It was the first time that I realized that things were bad, and that if I ate that pizza, Lord knows what could have happened to me.
Right.
It could have been another meal, or it could have been my last meal.
Yeah.
So, your story speaks volumes when you talk about your story with Les Brown, because it just shows that if you stay consistent and you don't give up and you don't listen to those negative voices and you don't listen to your own negative voices, things can come true. You don't have to hold yourself back. And people don't realize how powerful they are when it's just a mind shift. That's all it takes. And that's powerful.
And I mean, if you look at anybody's road towards completing a dream, it's not easy. Tell me anybody that you could see in the media or what have you that accomplished what they wanted and it was easy. I mean, you look at Tyler Perry, he's a billionaire now. Well, how long was he homeless?
Right.
Or you look at, Dr. Seuss, who was fired from his first job because they said that he lacked, what did they say? He lacked imagination. Walt Disney was fired. I mean, when you look at all of these people, Oprah was fired from her original job as I think she was a radio personality or something like that. You look at that, J.K. Rowling, she was denied by 11 publishing companies. How big could Harry Potter end up being? So when you really just look at that and understand, it's not going to happen overnight. But it's all about you being consistent. And Les Brown would say, know your vitamins. So all of those ignored emails to me, I would say that to me. And like you were saying, the negative thought, we have to learn to not only not listen to the negative people and the negative thoughts, we have to learn to replace that immediately. Nope, get out of here. Nope. You see this here? These are quotes. I have quotes all over my desk. I got a quote across the wall over here. You've got to set yourself up, whatever it is, My Alexa wakes up in the morning telling me how great I am. You have to find a way to get your brain. I mean, we automatically think negative thoughts and we automatically think the same thoughts over and over and over again. You've got to program your brain like you and I both have. I didn't bring it back over yesterday. You and I both have our affirmations that we're reading every day.
Right.
And that's part of it too, because I could have very easily been like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But I was like, no, I'm just going to keep on going. The surest way to win is to keep trying one more time.
Exactly. You got to follow the plan and eat your green eggs and ham. Listen, everybody. It's just about following the plan.
Yes.
I got creative, but
you did. But even in that, and that's one of the things that I love teaching kids. This is one of my favorite books. I mean, I've had this way before you were born, back when we had cassette tapes. I took it off.
Wow.
This is my, like I said, old. Back when I was writing in my books and my handwriting looked like this. I don't know, maybe I was 4 or 5, but
that's my handwriting now. We saw my post earlier. I'm left-handed, everybody. Apologize.
But I mean, even like with this and like what you bringing this up, I start by teaching my kids this, and we count how many times did Sam I am go when the guy said no, and he kept on going. To the guy was just like, dude, just leave me alone, please. I'll eat it. Leave me alone. And that's what we have to do.
Right.
So
that's what it takes. It just takes that. You know, a lot of people don't follow through with their plans. You know, and it's sad because you see so many people with potential. They have the plan to rule the world, even though, you know, you literally don't rule the world, but they have the energy and they know they can do it. And I feel, you know, in society, we're conditioned to believe that there's certain jobs that already have high prestige. And I tell people, and in my book, I say it, there's nothing more valuable than the gifts that you possess. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can place a price tag on that. Those gifts belong to you for a reason. I didn't find my voice till I was 15. A lot of people say, Gio, nobody's gonna ever hear you. Nobody's gonna ever hear you speak.
And look at you now.
And just at the business boot camp and the power of the network, you already know who I'm talking about. If you don't, you should ask us. You should definitely ask us. We're part of a very special, unique group. Probably the most powerful group. We're the Justice League, but for authors and business owners. Actually, we're Marvel. We're better than DC.
There you go.
We're the Avengers. But on a serious note, you know, you just have to be consistent. You just have to have that power. You have to find that power within. And the only person that can find that power is yourself.
And like you say, you didn't hear your voice to 15. I didn't hear my voice to 38. So that's another thing too. We're all on this different journey. And it doesn't matter when you hear your voice, 15, 38. Colonel Sanders, when did KFC? He was in his 60s. But the thing is, number one, never giving up. And sometimes we have to believe in other people's belief in us. People saw this gifted teacher, Keisha, that I didn't see. People, and when you have to start listening. If somebody over here is telling you something about you, and then somebody over here is saying, and somebody is over here, and they don't know each other, you really got to start listening to those things like, oh, well, maybe they're right.
You know, Keisha, you're surrounded by a lot of books, and it only leads to my question. Do you have a book, or are you planning to write a book?
So I plan to write a book for teachers.
Nice.
I plan to also write a book about me discovering my voice, because like I said, it wasn't until I was 38, frustrated in my marriage, that I finally, you know, began to speak up. But I have written, it hasn't been published yet, I've written a series of beginning reading children's books, so that when children learn of their first few sounds in the alphabet, stuff that have been proven to be the ones, not just A, I, B, but sounds that have been proven by scientists that children should learn first, and they're the easiest. As soon as they learn the first 6 or 7 sounds, they can go ahead and read this book. So it's called The Adventures of IP, because a lot of the words are IP, and nice. AM, a lot of them are AM, and I'm working on getting that published.
And I can predict this. That book is going to be the most powerful literary piece for educators around the world when it gets published. You know, that's going beyond bestseller, international bestseller, award winning. It's going to be one of those things that's going to be your legacy, and it's going to last for decades, even centuries. People are going to refer back to it. I can already predict that. It's not even a prediction. That's a spoiler
Thank
for
you.
all of you. That's a spoiler. That's,
Yes.
you know, well, Keisha, I asked everyone, we're getting to the end of the interview here. I love these sessions. I just want people to get a chance to screen back because a lot was said, people. If you're missing this stuff, these are golden nuggets. In my case, it's golden Oreos.
Golden Oreos.
It's golden Oreos. And, we're dropping this great stuff for all you educators. This should motivate you. This should inspire you. When that book comes out, and when it does, that should be on your Amazon account, your store, your cart, whatever. It should be in your Amazon. It should be there. Check Amazon, and wherever it is published, that should be the first book you get. So I like to ask this final question because you are from Chicago and you all love pizza. What is your favorite slice of pizza, and where's that pizza from?
Oh my gosh. So I'm in Virginia now, and it's definitely not here. My favorite pizza is in Chicago, and it's called Home Run Inn. And I'm very thankful that I can actually find that only in Harris Teeter around here in Virginia. The first time that I found it, probably 7 years after being here, I was like, oh my gosh. But it's Home Run Inn pizza, and I like Supreme. I like some of everything except for olives. I like all the goods.
The only non-pineapple pizza of the year. We finally got one. That isn't from Pizza Hut either. Everybody's been saying Pizza Hut. Listen, it's all small business for me.
Okay.
It's the best. I think small business pizza, wherever you get it from. Domino's has my heart though, but I always support a small business where I can.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
Keisha,
Home Run Inn technically a small business. They only have, when I lived in Chicago, I've been gone for a while, they only had like 2 physical restaurants. So, I mean, they finally, like I said, have their pieces in some grocery stores. But again, I could only find it in one grocery store. So
I thought that was, I was actually assuming that was a small business. I didn't, because we hear big names. I'm like, yeah, but you can get the real deal. You don't have to. I get that $5 deal is great, but get the real deal.
Yes.
But everybody, we're closing out the show, and as you already know, you can't get too lost in the pizza sauce because that's too much sodium. You can't take in too much sodium. Everybody, this is Keisha Yearby. I have way more great guests coming onto the show. We got DJs, we got writers, we got young councilwomen from Allentown.
Okay.
We just got a lot of people coming. You never know. Someone might come in with an Oreo hoodie. Who knows? Who knows what might happen on this show? Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Keisha, send them out.
If you want to get in touch with me, freeyourgreatness.com, or you can type in KeishaYearby.com. Let me help you. I call all my students, whether in my classroom or the ones that I tutor, I call them great ones. Let me help your great one free his or her greatness and excel in academics. If you need someone to come in to speak to your class, to speak to teachers, I'm the one to help. KeishaYearby.com, free your greatness. Thank you.
Free your greatness, everybody.